Hello, my name is Jimena Pitty, and I'm the manager of the Punta Culebra Nature Center at the Smithsonian Tropical Research Institute, also known as STRI. I also support STRI by creating educational programming for local and international audiences. And today, I will introduce our most recent digital program. But first, a little background about STRI, its science, and education. The Smithsonian Tropical Research Institute was founded with the purpose of increasing and sharing knowledge about the past, present, and future of tropical ecosystems. The research is shared widely around the global scientific community through more than 500 publications per year. These studies also reach policymakers in Panama and beyond. STRI's work began in Panama in 1910, when the Smithsonian led one of the world's first major environmental impact studies, which surveyed and cataloged the flora and fauna of the lowland tropical forest that would be flooded with the creation of the Panama Canal. A century later, the Smithsonian in Panama continues to do groundbreaking research on tropical forests and marine ecosystems. The research is also the foundation of an outreach and training program that reaches hundreds of teachers and tens of thousands of school children every year through 4 public program stations located all across Panama, including where I work, Punta Culebra Nature Center. Through fun, hands-on exploratory STEM experiences about the tropical ecosystems, STRI strives to connect its audiences to the science that goes on behind the scenes, fostering key 21st century skills and curiosity to learn more about our surroundings. How do we do this? By captivating our audiences through live exhibits, outside activities that stimulate scientific learning, and the use of lab equipment and collections as those discovered by real scientists. STRI also aspires to take the learning experience to another level by using skills and methodologies that will help inspire audiences, especially children, to motivate discovery by asking questions and critical thinking about what surrounds them. With this in mind and inspired by Curious at the National Museum of Natural History, STRI started Curioso Panama, a new experimental learning space that brings the research, the science, collections, lab equipment out from behind the scenes for children, youth, parents, teachers, and many others to enjoy and experiment. The Q-Bus was born from Curioso, packing collections, lab equipment, guides, scientists, and more, reaching 200 schools and more than 10,000 public school students in 3 of the 10 provinces in Panama. As the pandemic started, we transitioned from a face-to-face interaction to a digital and virtual engagement, taking science to our audience's screens through Q Digital. Q Digital is a virtual learning platform that can be accessed through the STRI website. You can see the link in the screen. You can log in stri.si.edu/en for English/Q Digital. The link will take you to this page, also accessed through the education and outreach section of the STRI website. So you have different ways to be able to access this page. Q Digital was launched in August 2020, starting with 2 digital activities, now hosting 9 activities that range from animated videos to video games in both English and Spanish, with 3 more bilingual activities set to launch in 2022. This program targets girls and boys between the ages of 8 all the way to 16, parents, caregivers, and teachers. I will now use the new Hypoxia game that we just created to provide a quick overview of the steps we take to create a digital activity. Hypoxia, for instance, in this case, Hypoxia is based on Dr. Rachel Collins' research, who studies how marine invertebrates successfully reproduce and the environmental conditions like hypoxia that shape their development. First, we unpack the science and create a storyboard with the support of scientists, educators, and that's where I come in as an educator, a programmer, and a coordinator. The preliminary design is then created. Once this is finalized, the digital programming begins to take a little bit of life with the characters being very actively in the story. Finally, we're ready to upload the game in the STRI website and launch through social media, email impact, email contacts, and other channels of communications. We're currently working on the second phase of this game. The Megalodon is another interesting example of an interactive game that combines a little fantasy, like using a time machine, with marine animals and environments from modern to prehistoric times. Let me give you a glimpse of how Megalodon looks like. So through Megalodon, users can actually pick a character, girl, boy, they're different types, and they swim through the Atlantic and the Pacific Oceans, getting to know some of the different species that we have in those two oceans. Once they take their time machine back to prehistoric times, they get to not only meet Megalodon, but also many of his friends that used to live back 5 million of years ago or more. Besides accessing Q Digital through the STRI web, apps were developed for some of the games, mainly for audiences without constant internet connection, to be able to play offline from their caregivers or parents' cell phones. We're currently working on the app for the hypoxia game in case you're trying to access it through your phone right now. Another way we share our programming is through teacher trainings. STRI conducts 2 to 3 teacher trainings with public school teachers to share our most recent resources, connect the teachers to scientists, partner with experts on new educational methodologies, and beyond. After the training, we keep in touch with teachers through the different group chats and networks we maintain with them to continue to provide technical support if need be. And with that, we give our special thanks to all of our sponsors, the team of STRI scientists, fellows, program coordinators, digital programmers, and support staff that have made this digital program possible. You can follow us through our social media and STRI website for more information about Q Digital and other programs and activities coming up. And with that, I want to thank you all for your time, and I'll open the floor for any questions you may have. First question, how do you decide what material to create or topics to cover? That's a tricky question. So it depends. There have been games that we have decided to create based on a donor that has come to us and has asked for if we can create something that connected to marine environments or marine ecology. And of course, we have an array of publications that have come out based on that. So we talk to scientists and ask them if anybody would like to work with us. We get this funding, we have this funding available. This donor would like to work on a marine ecosystem. Are you interested? So that's pretty much one of the ways we've done some of the games. Another way we've done the games also is looking for what are some of the STRI science that's out there that can be appealing for our audiences. For instance, Megalodon was no brainer. Megalodon was a seller. All our kids the kids that come through our doors are constantly asking to see the Megalodon tooth or anything else that have been left from prehistoric times from this animal. So Megalodon, that's how Megalodon was born, and we fundraised for this program. I didn't mention this before, but all of our programmings, including Q Digital, depend on fundraising to be able to be kept alive. Oh, and another way we also create materials and topics is by connecting the different types of sciences together and seeing ways that kids can learn through skills. So for instance, we're working on a new challenging game to be able to 3D scan collections from Curioso and then use them in an interactive game. So that way users can not only get to see the 3D scans through a website, but they can also use them in a game and apply them. Next question. How long does it take to produce an animated video or video game? That's a very good question. We thought at the beginning, when we started Q Digital, none of my team have ever worked on digital games before. The program coordinator, she does gaming on a side, but she never was behind the scenes to be able to create a game. So we had to depend a lot on the external digital programmers to be able to learn more about the process. So we went from thinking that we would create a digital program in 4 or 5 months to pretty much taking 8 months, 9 months to be able to create a solid one. For instance, Megalodon, which has 3 stages, pretty much took 6 months to create. But we have other ones that have taken 8 months to create. Right now we're working on one, which is the one that I mentioned before, the 3D scan collections. That will take a little bit more because, of course, there's many other steps to this process to be able to create this lesson, including scanning the collection. So it can go all the way. Right now we're working on 8 months minimum to a year to be able to create one solid lesson. That includes evaluations, of course. That includes, well, from all the way from the planning to the evaluations and implementation and piloting. Okay, I have another question coming in. What training is needed to do the work that you do? Oh, okay. So a lot of, we had to look for our own means of training. We didn't have a formal training through the unit. So we partnered with the experts to be able to understand how they work. For instance, any technical questions that might come in regards to programming, you can write me an email. My email is on the screen and I can connect you with our digital programmer. But we didn't get to learn those technical processes. What we did was we are a group of different backgrounds that came together and we all work in our sections and work together as a team. So for instance, besides being the manager at Punta Culebra, I'm also the only educator at STRI. So what I bring to the table is how to synthesize the science in a way that can be understandable by our target audience. And then we have a program coordinator that comes in and she brings all the logistics and just coordination of everything. Then we have a scientist or scientists that come in and just make sure that the science is accurate. And yes, we will use some fantasy from now and then, but scientists are very open to this. Many of them have been, luckily, and they just verify that the science is okay. And then we have, of course, a group of digital programmers that bring their own expertise to the table. So more than training is pretty much getting together as a team, bringing those experts in that you need to be able to create the results that you're looking for. Next question, what is the cost to create something like Megalodon? So we work with digital programmers in Panama. We have been lucky because we have created programs that are not, let's say in the case of Megalodon, when we started, Megalodon was one of the first ones that we worked with this new digital programmer. We were testing and looking into ways that we could bring this to life. So he was very interested in also looking into different ways of working with us. He'd never worked with science before, so that was very appealing to him. So the game pretty much overall, including, for instance, the salaries of the, some salaries were not included in this, as for instance, my salary or some other salaries were not included in this budget. But overall, it cost up to $15,000 for Megalodon to be created. And that was on the cheaper side because we also had, like I said, we didn't calculate certain costs that were already put into place. Right now, for instance, to be able to create more stages in Megalodon, and of course, back then when we were just starting this program, we learned a lot through the process, and we learned that there were things that we missed through the process that right now would increase that cost. But 15,000 is pretty much what it took to be able to create Megalodon without the, including costs of the rest of the team that had to be part of the process. But it's not 15,000 anymore. We're looking into higher costs now because we are trying to make programs that are a little bit more, let's say, we're going to use the word complicated to be able to use. For instance, in the case of Megalodon, our users have been asking for more stages or more animals. They're actually been more interested the animals that lived with the Megalodon rather than the Megalodon itself. So we're trying to cater to that and see if we can add more. And of course, not including the maintenance of these games. Maintenance costs also need to be included. We learned that the hard way because, as you may already know, softwares are updated, so programs need to be updated. Have you done user studies? Thank you for that question. We have not. The only numbers that we keep right now are through our web analytics. For instance, we learned that we have had more than 5,000 new users. That means a unique individual user, and we've had more than 24,000 page views. But we haven't done more to evaluate this game right now. That is the next phase that we're going into, is how to evaluate digital programming. We do not have the expertise to do that, so we're looking for evaluators that have done that. In Panama, we haven't been able to locate one, so we're inquiring in the United States to be able to find ways to evaluate the user experience of these kinds of games. Thank you for the question. I don't know if I have any more questions coming in. Can people volunteer to make these videos or games? I've had interest from some external people, external meaning not working for STRI, that have had have shared, advice or opinions about future games, and we've acknowledged them and taken into account because there's always new ideas that pop in. We're a very small group of people, so we are open to suggestions. In the case of volunteering for videos or games, of course, we're constantly working with new experts, new scientists, new fellows that are interested in volunteering their time to be able to do this. So please send me an email if you're interested, if you have any ideas, if you know what we do at STRI and you think there's something else that we haven't tapped into. For instance, right now, another game that we're working on is the Barro Colorado Island game, which its anniversary is coming up next year. And we want to be able to pair it together with a new exhibit that Barro Colorado BCI is going to have at the NMNH. So we want to have it in time to be able to partner it with the exhibit. So ideas have come up from different parties within STRI to be able to create this game. So we're going to see how it comes out. Has it been easy to get scientists involved and check that the information presented is correct? Yes, and a little no. Mostly yes, I have to say. Sometimes, so I have a couple of stories. We have scientists that want their science, of course, to be accurate. We understand that, so we respect that, but to the T. So if we have, for instance, exploring with Tito, there's a game that we have exploring the different types of tropical forests that you can find in Panama, for instance. We had a scientist that wanted her science to be, or what she studies to be, exactly the detail with the lobes and the type of non-vascular plants that she studies to the detail. What happens is these games didn't go into the micro type of view of the organisms that are in an ecosystem. It was more of a macro type of view. But she was really helpful. She was there all the time with us, trying to see and explore what kind of organisms we could use from what she studies. She's super passionate about what she does. So we wanted to be really respectful about her studies, her science. And we've had young scientists, we have fellows come to us and provide information about, let's say, corals and many other types of organisms, because they're very interested in outreach and education. So we want to be able to foster that as they start their journey to start a master's or a PhD or whatnot in science. So we work with them, and also STRI scientists, which you would think that won't have a second of the day to be able to help us. Dr. Rachel Cullen has been there. We've been meeting with her periodically to be able to get hypoxia running. And she was the one, actually, if you go into the game, you're going to see the starfish have eyes. The echinoderms, like starfish, do not have eyes. But she was one of the people that said, you know what, why not? Let's put some eyes, let's put some feelings into that face. So we created a face for starfish, and that came from a scientist. So many things, many interesting things can come from scientists, which surprise us every day. Are there plans to go back to in-person activities as the situation with the pandemic improves? Yes, we're actually opening Punta Culebra April 1st, next week, Friday, April 1st. We're opening only on the weekends. We're wanting to expand that pretty soon, but because of biosecurity reasons, we're going to start with tight capacity at the beginning, and then hopefully we'll be able to open with a higher capacity in the near future and open with the same schedule that we used to have. But yes, we are about to open in-person activities, and that means launching Curioso. Curioso was about to launch in March 2020. You all know what happened then. So we can't wait to be able to get kids, parents, caregivers, everyone through our doors to be able to experiment Curioso and Q Digital. We have a touchscreen at Curioso where we're going to have digital games as well for everybody to use. Next question, were there unexpected things learned from the in-person activities? Oh, yes. Oh, I could be here all day. And I don't mind saying that, because they always, I mean, I'm the first person to say we learn from this type of unexpected things. And of course, we take them and we put them into our next plan. So for instance, QBus. QBus is a program that came about because we saw a decline in the numbers of public school students that will come through our doors. When we asked questions very informally to our contacts in schools, many of them said because of lack of resources, they couldn't come to our doors, resources to be able to pay for transportation and others. So what we decided to do is, hey, we have a 12-passenger bus, let's get to them, at least the provinces that are pretty close to our station. And that way we don't have to, cost won't increase because accommodations, we can pilot this program, see if it works, and then expand from there. So challenges that you can find in places like in Panama or public schools in Panama, lack of power, lack of internet connection, difficult access to many schools, among many others. So we kind of did a brainstorm of what the challenges could be. And of course, as we implemented the program, there were many other challenges that came about, but that helped us grow and and pretty much learn from them and understand that we needed to buy lab equipment that use batteries instead of power connections. We understood that we needed to take, just an extra guide just in case, because another of the guides could, fall ill that day, and just to have that as a backup. We learned a lot through the process for QBus. And of course, we keep learning for our programs. We're about to launch Curioso, so we're going to learn a lot from that, how to handle collections. Curious at NMNH the team there have been wonderful. They've actually given us these are the challenges that you guys are going to have, and that's okay. So they've been wonderful to us, and we can't wait to be able to learn from the challenges that are about to come. So I think this might be, yeah. So since I have one more minute, I think that was my last question. I just want to let you guys know that my email, you can email me anytime, ask me if you have any technical questions that have to do with programming. Please feel free to email me. I can direct your question to the digital programmer, and he is very excited about what we do, so I'm sure he'll get back to you. And if you have any more questions that come about STRI or Punta Culebra or education, please don't be a stranger. Thank you so much for your time. Hope to see you soon. Bye-bye.